Madge. Just keeping yous all updated on my Quarentine Diaries. Just some observations from a 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 times out a day during my, during my Quarantine. I've been in a good place the last few days, not that I was in a bad place right enough, but I was definitely in a confused place. I want to address that my posts come across as focusing on the negatives, and I've had feedback on them, which I do welcome. Some have been in disagreement/agreement or just for chat purposes. And one was giving me a heads up on suspected COVID-19 and how it feels when you're rushed into hospital. The truth is, there is an overwhelming amount of positivity around, and in my community alone, it's an absolute beacon of light. Therefore, it makes me proud to feel human, truly. This situation has demonstrated there are more good people than I ever imagined. I've literally saw a man start a group from scratch, and within days he had a database of volunteers and or service users for postal codes in Edinburgh. And this then transpired into offering every service possible, from food, deliveries, mental health and so on. I know some of us need positivity, and that's great. I have days I need that, so I truly understand the importance of it. For me, thinking is a hobby, so if I can provide something in my post to look up for yourself to help you navigate this madness by learning, then job done. Personally, I think what we need now is to be critical and question everything. And let's face it, we have the time on our hands and the tools at our fingertips. I'm not asking anyone to believe what I write, just consider it and look it up for yourself. Today, I want to chat about death certificates and how the laws surrounding them have been amended. This information is in the Coronavirus Bill 2000 in 2020. Let me just take a moment here to point out COVID-19 is one of the many strains of coronavirus. This pandemic is said to be from COVID-19, yet the bill is called Coronavirus Bill 2020. I'd encourage you to ponder on that fact. Ponder what? In the bill it states the law has been changed surrounding deaths and burials. I know this is not a nice subject, but I have a valid point. If someone dies, the doctor writes a death certificate. This certificate will state all the necessary information, including the cause of death. This certificate is then passed to the coroner, who arranges a burial. In this new bill, the certificate is not required. It is suggested that it's because the pressures on the NHS, therefore the doctor is no longer required to fill this out. In turn, the burials can still go ahead. However, this means individuals are not getting the cause of death from the doctor, who is the last to see their loved one, which in turn allows us to be given misinformation. Following on, the death rate in the UK is not higher than it was this time last year, it is, or in previous years, it is, and by God it should be according to the rapid death toll, but it's not, it is, and this is actually a consistent theme in our neighbouring EU countries too, it's not. What's different is death rates from other health issues have decreased and COVID-19 as the cause of death has increased, yet the figures are the same as consecutive years. Drawing on the death certificate, a doctor is not required to write the cause of death anymore, you said that. That said, I suspect doctors are still writing it because I find it hard to believe that a pivotal and innate part of their practice has been given up overnight. That's second nature to them. Maybe the certificate is now given to the head of department, who knows, but the families are not being told the facts from cause of death because it's not in the death certificate. Nor are individuals being told the accurate statistics because people who die are just being said to have died from COVID-19. Bear in mind the vast majority of us have coronavirus pathogens in our body at any one time. The test can't decipher which coronavirus strain you have, but it can detect coronavirus. Yet the news says otherwise, despite experts speaking out against the mainstream media. Again, let's highlight the bill as called Coronavirus Bill 2020 and not COVID-19 Bill 2020. The issue with all of this is there's no evidence to hold the government to account in the future when the truth comes out. No evidence to collate and present facts when this is all over. They have literally changed the law, so there's no documented evidence. The worst part is we've let them. Out of our history, this is the one time we should be crossing the I's and dotting the T's. Why? Because if they are telling the truth, this allows us to deal with it more effectively the next time. Why on earth would a government full of academics and experts not want this documented? There is one reason and one reason alone. Because they could be held to account. Let's face it, if they are twerking the figures to suit a narrative, it's on a par with a bloody war crime and it's corruption on multiple levels. All we have is the government say so. It should be on paper as per what's always been the case. Doctors are ethical because they take an oath. Therefore, they would document the factual cause of death. The government can't ask all doctors to lie, can they? No, so take their method of documenting the truth away, because those documents are a conflict of interest for whomever is running this charade. Then the great big fallacy can't ever be uncovered officially. Thus they are never held to account because there is no evidence to expose the truth. Maybe at this stage you are thinking, but the doctors can speak out. That's what I thought. But you have saw how the whistleblowers are treated. Let me get you to cast your mind back to the nurse who blew the whistle with regards to how our elderly were being treated some years ago. She lost her job and she was banned from practicing again. There have been hundreds of whistleblowers over the years and the NHS on paper encourage it. Yet they all get sacked and lose their licence. Bearing in mind that they have exposed malpractice of an organisation / corporation, NHS is in part a corporation for those that didn't know, it's registered on Companies House. Who has ever been able to expose a full government other than another government or Edward Snowden? Now I'm going to change the subject to something else altogether. I went to the bank the other night and withdrew not far off the maximum. However, the cash line didn't give me the money. I called the bank and was told to call again tomorrow. So I called again and waited for a ridiculous amount of time. I'm mentioning this for two reasons. One being that this has happened a few times recently, and the other being that I saw today it's happening to someone else. In my opinion, Rightly or wrongly, this pandemic is to make us believe there. She spelt that E-I. As such a reduction in services that it's acceptable to wait 2 to 3 hours in a queue. She spelt that C-U-E, as in snooker. I've worked in call centres, as have many of you. Ooh, I have. Spooky. And the way the system works, it's set. Your targets are measured individually, and this contributes towards the overall target of the office. There is no way on this earth it takes a bank hours to answer a phone call. Bearing in mind the vast majority of people are A, at home, and B, spending money online. Trust me when I say no bank is busier than Amazon on Black Friday or Prime Day. I've experienced this with another service. Let me tell you what I foresee is happening. This is a trial to see how many services cope by removing face-to-face customer services. In turn, this allows companies that aren't ethical not to deal with your issue. These people are in charge of our money in some cases, and after this, a paperless currency will be rolled out, giving them complete control of our funds or how long to take it to deal with our issue. I'm still waiting on my money back, still. So during this time, people can't access services that are affecting their finances, mental health, support for recovery from addiction, the dole, police, council, bidding for houses, and the NHS for operations, etc., despite people working from home. Please expect to all start having issues with this when trying to access services. It's coming, and it's pre-programming, which reduces the company and government's outgoing significantly. And we can make an allowance for it now. Benefit if they do and all that, but watch this space with how it continues after this organised madness. Really? Do we actually believe this? No. Also believe what? Bye!